Hey there, I'm Lindsay Mercado, and I'm so glad to have you joining me today. We are currently going through a series about self-care as a Christian and what this looks like. How do we take care of ourselves as believers? The world talks a lot about self-care and all these different things that we should be doing to take care of ourselves on a regular basis. And we talked initially about how the world is pursuing self-care, but the things that they are pursuing don't actually result in taking care of yourself, especially as a believer, where our goals are different, our outlook on life is different, our mission is different than the world's. And so how the way that we pursue self-care also needs to reflect the end goals that we're pursuing, the way that we can live better and feel better and be better in things like having increased faith, having a closer relationship with God, having more perseverance or joy and peace. Those are the things that we're pursuing as believers. And so our pursuit of those things needs to be different than the world's, where they're typically just pursuing temporary distraction or maybe just an escape from reality for a little while. So the first week we talked about how Sabbath is a great practice for self-care, how God designed us to need this day of rest, to need this day to realign and reflect and spend some time with God. So every 6 days, we're going to take the seventh and have a Sabbath. And then last week, we talked about how scripture, reading the Bible, is a great practice in self-care and how that really just gives us the right perspective of who God is, corrects our view of him instead of us always getting our view of God from the latest thing that we've read or the sermon that we heard most recently. It also gives God an opportunity to convict us or to speak to us and encourage us. And so how reading scripture every single day is truly self-care. And today we are going to be talking about how serving others, giving our time and our energy and our efforts is an act of self-care. And maybe it doesn't sound like it. Maybe that's not your first reaction, is that when you are drained to go and give, to go and serve, it's not the easiest thing to do. You want to rest, you want to take a break, you want to go on vacation or have a spa day. But truly serving others is an incredible way to take care of ourselves when we are feeling drained. It requires our time, it requires our energy, but in return, our mental state is changed, and God does something spiritually in that act of service that we can tap into to truly take care of ourselves. So while it does take our time and energy, we realize how blessed we are when we serve others. When we pour out, when we open up our home for a small group, when we offer to help out another mom and take care of our kids for an afternoon, or when we volunteer at church, those things, they take time, they take energy, they take you opening up your space, opening up your time, and making yourself available to somebody else. But in that same act, we're realizing the resources that we have. We realize how blessed we are, all the things that God has given us, a home to open up for a small group. Not everybody has that. That's such a huge blessing. Or this time and energy to spend with another mom's kids while she gets what she needs and takes care of what she needs to do. That's such a huge blessing that you have to have that time and energy. Or volunteering at church. There's nothing better than a Sunday afternoon nap when you've spent all morning serving in the house of the Lord. Truly. And so these things, they change our mind about our circumstances. They don't necessarily fill us up and make us more energized or give us more free time, but they change our mental state to reflect and realize how generous God has been with us. When we're able to fulfill the needs of another person and take care of them, we realize how much we are blessed ourselves. I think it also does something spiritually for us. The Bible talks a lot about service. In Proverbs 19, verse 17, it says, "Whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will reward them for what they have done." Hebrews 6:10 says, "God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown him as you helped his people and continue to help them." And then Matthew 23, verse 11, it says, The greatest among you will be your servant. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. I love these scriptures because they're talking about the spiritual things that we gain, the way that God is going to remember our works, the way that we served and loved other people, the way that we will be exalted when we're humble. And I think that just shows while we're pouring out physically, God is filling us up spiritually. Our minds are being changed and our spirits are being filled up by God. And maybe you need to test this out. Maybe you need to go and try it out and see just how blessed you feel, just how filled up you are after pouring out to help somebody else fulfill their needs. And Jesus is our example. As believers, we look to Jesus to see what he did. And as he was instructing his disciples to be servants of each other, he's washing their feet. He was helping them, serving them. He died for them, died for us. He was so servant-led, servant-minded, that we should follow and emulate that example. He showed radical service to other people, the rich, the poor, his friends, his betrayers. He served his mother as he's dying on the cross, making sure that she's being taken care of in his death. And so clearly service is aligned with the life that we're called to live as Christians. And so it is an act of self-care to serve other people, to pour out our time and our energy and our effort, but to have that mental shift and to have that spiritual filling from God. It is truly self-care.
Thanks so much for spending a few minutes of your day with me. If you found this video encouraging or helpful, I would love for you to share it with a friend who might be encouraged by it as well. And if you want to connect, I am over on Instagram at Lindsay E. Mercado, or you can find me at my website, lindsaymercado.com. I'll see you there.